Let's give a really cool takeaway that I've coached a few clients with. And that is when you end a sentence in a downward inflection, you sound more assertive. You sound more sure of yourself.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
Hey, podcaster, there is something that's come up a few times as I listen to some podcast episodes of some clients of mine, and that is your voice inflections. What is a voice inflection? It's basically you not sounding monotoned. It's basically you not sounding like a robot. It's basically having some type of dance with your words. With your words, as in sometimes at the end of a sentence, you might go up. Sometimes at the end of the sentence, you might go down. Sometimes in the beginning of the sentence, it sings really fast. And sometimes at the other sentence, you might just take it down a notch, slow it down a notch, and use a different, with pauses, use a slightly different approach. Because when you change those approaches, your listener pays a little bit more attention. So you want to sometimes talk a little bit fast, and you want to sometimes talk a little bit slow, and you want to make sure that you don't sound like a monotoned every single time, but you have a different cadence. You know, one of my favorite bands, they are Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. I don't know if you believe me, but Bone Thugs has been a favorite of mine for a long, long time. Bone Thugs does some really cool, it's called syncopation. They do 2 against 3, 2 time against 3 time, where it's da 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 da. And so they do this dance. They rap fast, and then they rap slow. They might slow it down. They might go a cappella for a short amount of time. And because of that, their music absolutely interests me. I stick with it. And when I'm having a conversation with you on the podcast, I think about that a little bit. I don't always think about Bone Thugs-n-Harmony the whole time that I'm doing a podcast episode. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I try to share with you whatever is naturally happening. This is one reason why I do not read. One reason. I might put up bullet points of what to talk about. Yeah, sure. But I don't read it, because generally when we read something on a screen, it is very challenging, absolutely difficult for you to read something that's kind of long and for you to have a cadence that sounds like music, like Bone Thugs. If you're reading, then you'll probably sound more like a poem where it kind of makes you feel sleepy, feel tired. Cansado, muy cansado. I think I'm saying that right. I've been learning Spanish lately. Muy cansado. It makes you feel a little bit tired or sleepy when you're listening to something where all of the rhythm is very regimented and like an ocean wave coming in and out, and the ocean wave coming in and out. On top of just having differentiated voice inflections and cadence and rhythm and beat, on top of that, let's give a really cool takeaway that I've coached a few clients with. And that is when you end a sentence in a downward inflection, you sound more assertive. You sound more sure of yourself. If you're noticing it, all 3 of those sentences, I ended on a downward inflection. Now, if you end on an upward inflection, you're going to sound kind of like a cheerleader from California. If you end on an up note, if you go up, if you swoop the tonality from, let's just make a statement. I love pickles. I love pickles. Now I went down. I love pickles. That sounds to your listener like you have authority behind liking pickles. If you end on an upward inflection, we'll say California cheerleader. If you end on an upward inflection, you are going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Now, that's no offense to you if you're in California or a cheerleader or both. There's no offense to you. It's just the fact of the matter is when you end on an upward inflection, it sounds more like you have a question. It sounds more like you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not sure, or you're asking somebody something. So when you go up at the end of a sentence versus going down at the end of a sentence, you tend to show a little bit more authority in the phrase that you're using. So when I get together with new clients, we especially go through this on their trailer episode. You should have a trailer episode. Your trailer episode is a 1 to 10 minute episode that gives your listener a little bit of background about your show. That's what a trailer episode. It ends up being episode 0. It's a bonus episode, and they can listen to it at any time. Once they've listened to it, it will no longer show up front and center, but those bonus episodes generally show up right there front and center, even when somebody just turns on your podcast. So it's kind of cool to have a trailer episode. When I'm having these conversations on the trailer episode and we talk about voice inflections with our client, we will practice, and I will say, nope, let's do that again. Nope, let's do that again, because they might end on an upward inflection. And it sounds like they're not quite sure that that's what they're saying. It sounds like they're not quite determined that that's the point. It sounds like they have some insecurities. It sounds like they are afraid to say the thing. It sounds like they don't have the authority to say that thing because they're ending on an upward inflection. It's hard to do. It's actually hard to control, but we practice. So in these coaching sessions, they'll say it and I'll say it. They'll say it and I'll say it. And because we're spending a slow amount of time saying it multiple different times, we end up nailing it. And they're going to have a great recording, episode 0, because it's going to be probably their most common episode that they get to those downward inflections, just like I did right there. Not like I'm doing right here, and definitely not like I'm doing here, but it is how I'm doing right here. When you end on a downward inflection, your listener feels that you have the authority. So we practice it, and you need to practice it. You need to go through, you need to record yourself. You need to listen back to yourself. Go and play a couple of your episodes right now. When you leave this, go and play a couple of episodes and find out, when do I sound like a California cheerleader? And when do I sound like Tony Robbins ending a sentence on a downward inflection? Go forth and enjoy your podcast. Make money from your podcast. And if you need any help with it, growyourshow.com. I'm Adam Adams. It was good hanging out with you today. Growyourshow.com. We can help. Bye for now. You're not alone if you're ready to either get your very first affordable microphone, or if you're ready to upgrade your equipment to some legit podcasting studio equipment. Because on all of the forums over the last few months, I'm seeing this all the time. Even my own personal clients that work with my team, they're ready to get that next microphone. They're asking us for it. Additionally, when I'm on discovery calls with potential clients, they're always asking for this stuff. Hey, what mic do you recommend? Hey, what lighting do you recommend? What webcam should I be using? So many questions. And so what we did, my whole team has put together a PDF so that if you're one of those people who is looking to either get your very first affordable microphone, or if you're ready to upgrade your equipment to more professional podcast studio equipment, whether it's soundproofing or whatever, we've got you covered by going to growyourshow.com/PDF. And you can download the PDF for free, or right there on the webpage is everything that you would have, and you don't need to download the PDF. Either way, just go to growyourshow.com/PDF, which will put you to the podcasting equipment that me and my team have personally vetted. I'll see you on the next episode.